everybody. I just want to take the time out first of all to say thank you so much for liking the first video that I made on the basics of Worbla and that you guys appreciated it so much. I'm so happy that you guys liked it, that I did a somewhat good job on it. I was so nervous that first time about saying the right thing and getting all of my information across in a certain amount of time. So yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So part 2, I know that I said in the last video I was going to do both 3D shapes and painting, but I really think that they should be separated just because there's so much information to cover in both of them. So today it's going to be painting, and then part 3 I hope to get out to you within next week will be on all the 3D shapes and attaching that onto the Worbla, all that good stuff. So anyways, like I said, today is all about painting. Let me show you some examples. This is for my Diablo Barbarian. This is an arm guard, so is this one. I'm going to show you how to be doing all these techniques today, all the weathering down and adding on effects like the blood, that really, really cool stuff. I'm in love with this armor set so far. I'm so happy with the way that it's turning out and looking. So let me get started here. So with weathering, the basic thing is to make it more realistic and make it look old. And then when you're working with Worbla, of course, even though you use the smooth side on your armor, prop, whatever you're making, it's still going to end up being gritty. So, of course, you're going to have to prime it with something. I use gesso. Some other people say wood glue, some people use other stuff, but in all honesty, gesso is the best. I've tried out everything. I've even used the spray primer some people use. It still ends up the exact same grittiness as you started with. It doesn't do any good except waste your time. So if you want your stuff to look brand new, like no battle damage at all, no weathering done at all, it's going to take 8 to 10 coats of gesso. So I know it sounds like a lot, and you're like, I don't want to waste my time with that. Well, it's really going to pay off in the end. I promise you it will. If you just take your time out and put on all 8 coats, it will look fantastic. But with my Barbarian, I wanted it to look very, very old and that it went through a ton of battle damage. So I actually only put on 4 coats, and it looks rather good in my opinion. It looks really old and weathered down, which I wanted. So yeah, depending on what you want, you'll have to like differ the coats that you put on. But yeah, just use gesso, all that good stuff. For the basic silver that I use on all of it, I just use the regular Rust-Oleum metallic silver color just to give it your basic flat silver color. So, I've already done some of the weathering down just to show you. See, as you can tell here and here, it looks a lot more realistic, and you can see all the depth in it after weathering it down, as opposed to that. I know that it's on a curved surface, but you can see how it's just obviously one solid color. As opposed to that, you can actually see everything. I hope that makes sense. But, yes. When working with all the different techniques like weathering and adding blood, I use Martha Stewart paints just because I think that they give the best, how do you want to put it, definition to it, I guess you could say. Because it really gets inside the crevices, which I like, and makes it look really authentic, in my opinion. So this is just regular black paint, basically. So you just pour that out onto a piece of poster board, dip it in, and let me see which is a part that I haven't weathered down yet. Oh, okay, here we go. So I haven't done this horn-shaped thing yet. And this is basically what you do. You just get in here and cover this all up with black paint, like that. So yes, of course, it's going to look like that. Now, when weathering down, if you still want it to look somewhat new, as opposed to it as very light weathering, I would suggest to you wetting down your washcloth first. That's going to take off a lot more of the paint when you weather it down. But since I want, like I've said throughout this video, I wanted my stuff to look very beat up and weathered down like it's been through battle a lot of times, I'm not going to wet this, so it's going to take off less of the paint. But it's just wait. It's still going to take off a lot of the paint, but you'll see. So basically, you just take your washcloth and get this and rub it around to get it off. So I'm only going to do half of this for you so you can see the difference from when you weather it down. There you go. Awesome. So, there's the half that I did. As you can see, it's captured inside the crevices of it, everything. And you can see the difference between the two halves so far, how this is still really, really bright and how this has darkened up a bit. So there you go. Just keep on rubbing until you get what you want off. And that's the thing, you just keep on going over it in the black paint on the different parts. Like, I just did those pieces, rub that off. And there you go. That's just basic weathering. It's just putting on black paint, rubbing it off. Now for the techniques like blood. I use Tester's paint. Where is it? For the blood, I use red Tester's paint just because I think it looks the best when it comes to it. Acrylic paints come off too easily. They don't give that bright of a color, in my opinion. And you can even see on this one where I've left it on a little bit longer. Oh, well, you can't see it because of the lighting. But there's this one particular piece that, like, I just put it on and didn't rub it at all. And it still looks like wet blood's on there, which is really, really cool. So, when working with Tester's paint, if you haven't had Tester's paint yet, it's not easy to get off, and it's a very small amount of it. So, I'll even show you how to take this stuff off of your hands when you're done. But anyways, like I said, I'm going to add on blood. See, so you just get like a little amount like that on, and just start adding it onto places that you want it. See, so I just put on some there, and I'm going to rub it in a little bit. There you go. Now see, you can see some of the blood that I added on. Looks very cool. I'm going to add some onto the teeth here. Like so. See? Haha. It's very easy. Once again, all the painting techniques are like somewhat easy. It's just you wanting to take the time to do it, because a lot of people, they just want to spray down with one spray paint color and say, okay, I'm done. Well, let's face it, that's not going to look realistic, because you never have just one solid color in a costume. It's always a blend of colors. So when you blend your colors, of course, it's going to make it look more realistic and make it actually look more like the character. So that's basically what it is. You just take your colors, rub it in where you want it. So you can see some of the blood that I added in there. To me, it looks really, really awesome so far. I'm like so happy with this. I'm impressing myself right now. Look at that. But yeah, as you can see, it's really, really easy to do. All of this is, so since Tester's paint is oil-based, I believe, I don't know if it is or not, but it's really tough to get off of your hands. So if you ever come across a paint where that happens to, just take nail polish remover. I know for guys it's going to like look awkward, like, oh, you're buying nail polish remover. But it's okay. Just take it and rub it all over your hands, and it will help get that off. So yeah, I'm hoping that this helped some of the questions about painting. I have gotten a lot of questions about painting before. For example, my RoboCop, because in person you can actually see some of the lights bouncing off of it, and it actually has that blue tone to it, like in the movie. And a lot of people were asking me how I got that blue tone in along with my black weathering. So basically, it's like the same thing as this. Instead of just weathering that down with solid black, I added in blue paint to it too and mixed it up with blue paint. And then just weathered it down all the same. So there's, you know, once you figure out the basic technique of weathering, you can modify it and do a lot of different techniques along with that too. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Next week I'll have part 3, which is all the 3D shapes, like spikes, as so, and 3D stuff like this. So that means I'll be showing you guys how to sculpt too. Yay! So awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have an awesome night. See ya.